Welcome to part 2. We will begin starting in bridge.
For bridging, I'll have you lay down on your shoulders and your back. We'll start with the feet separated hip width distance. Knees are going to bend up, and then the ankles will track underneath the knees right in front of your hips. Neutral spine to begin. My palms are going to face up towards the sky, but my arms are going to stay long by my sides. I'll spiral my belly button down and begin to hover the hips off the floor, tightening my glutes and my posterior chain as I lift, and then I'll lower my tailbone down to tap. Strong glutes will lift me, and then I'll keep my core active to lower and tap my tailbone down.
Thinking about a supportive person in your life that models courage. What feelings do you have around that person? What qualities does this person hold? How has this person helped you, or how could this person or these people help you? What expression is on this person's face as they speak to you? People need people. We are social beings. We need each other. Moving into toe tap.
Toe tap is done in imprint. If you're comfortable working in neutral, you may always lift the small of your back away to increase the challenge. Your legs are going to start floating in tabletop. We'll point the toes and lower the right toes down toward the floor. You'll pick the leg back up and switch. The angle of your legs stay consistent and still as one toe sinks to the floor and lifts back up.
Begin to remember a time that you had the support you needed and desired in your life by a family member, friend, teacher, coach. How did they help you persevere? When ready, moving into double leg stretch without arms.
You'll continue to lay on your back here, continue to imprint or neutralize the spine. The legs are going to hover in tabletop to begin. You'll extend both legs out, keeping the spine still in neutral or imprint. And then you'll use your belly to stop the knees over the hips as the knees bend back to table. Lengthen and stretch both legs out as one unit, stretching from the hips, energy in the toes. And then you'll bend the knees and stack the knees directly over the hips as they end back in table.
Activating your senses. What do you notice in your body? What are you feeling? What breath do you need to turn to? Moving into double leg toe tap.
Double leg toe tap. We're going to continue to keep those legs in tabletop. You'll lower both legs and toes down towards the floor together, and then draw both legs up to tabletop together. Lower the legs down, keeping the angle of your knees and legs consistent as the toes drop. And then lift the legs back up, stopping the knees right over the hips. Keeping your core braced and your arms long by your sides.
Bringing up the image of you taking charge of your health, what other scents are needed to fill the visual of you living your life in a healthy way? What smell, taste, sight, sound, touch? Acknowledging how hard your whole body is working at this time. Appreciating yourself for your strength as we move into another stretch.
So for our stretch, we'll bend both knees in or elongate the legs, depending on what feels best for your body.
Going back to your breath, deep stomach breaths in through your nose. Hold at the top for 2 seconds, exhaling out through your mouth. Healing is a process that takes time. Focusing on what aspects of your life you have control of, and acknowledging what in your life is out of our control. We can normally control our breath. We do it all the time without thinking about it. We can intentionally participate in deep belly breathing to bring about feelings of safety and ease. Take one more deep belly breath as we move into leg lifts with Flutter Kick.
For a leg lift, we'll imprint the spine so it's more supportive on our back. I want you to lengthen out both legs as one unit. Stretch the legs from the hips. Point the toes. You'll begin to lift and lower those legs. Lifting the legs up only as far as you can keep your bottom and your low back glued to the floor. And then lowering the legs back down only as far as you can keep your bottom and your low back consistently glued to that floor. I'm going to have you do this 5 times. And then you're going to meet me with those legs lengthened out to a diagonal. We'll begin to flutter kick, swimming both legs, small movements, keeping the core active and kicking from the hips. Everything stays still except where those kicking legs.
Imagine yourself in the future living life to the fullest, whatever a full life means to you. Imagine what you are doing. Imagine you are doing what you want to do, full of health. Imagine in as much detail as possible. Tap in that future self, left, right, at the speed that works for you. If the resource continues to strengthen, tap some more. Imagine yourself in the future being courageously living your life and living your life full of health. Now you will move into Isometric Bridge.
So we'll meet with our knees bent up, hip width distance apart with our legs. We'll start with the spine in neutral and hinge up into our bridge. Keeping the pelvis floating and still, you'll begin to hover the right leg to tabletop, stopping that leg when the knee stacks right over the hip, and then slowly lowering that leg back down to switch. We'll continue this movement 4 times on each side, keeping the core active, the arms long at the sides, my palms face up here. My gaze stays forward, right across my knees, and my shoulders, my pelvis does not move as I march.
Isometric Bridge uses your whole body. Thanking your body for having the strength to participate today, and taking the time to nourish your mind and body. Taking a moment to think about what actions you would like to take to move forward in a life full of health. What is the smallest first step you could take as we move into thigh stretch?
For thigh stretch, I'll have you kneel with your hips and your knees separated. My knees are separated slightly outside my hips. My shoulders are stacked directly over my hips, and my gaze is forward and long. I want you to keep the pelvis still, and you're just going to lower the upper body back, keeping the front of the body nice and long. The quads will engage to pull you back up. You'll pitch the upper body back, keeping the front of the hips nice and long, the shoulders nice and long, the chest nice and long, and then you'll lift back up. You don't have to go very far back in order to feel your quadriceps engage. My glutes are still working, my core is still working in order to keep my upper body as still in that plank position as possible.
As you participate in this pose, notice what comes up for you in the moments of silence. As we move into our final roll down,
let's stand up carefully. Separate our feet hip-width distance apart so our knees and our toes track forward. We'll round the shoulders and sink down towards our ankles and the floor. Let your tailbones sink back so it's directly over those ankles. Take one inhale through the nose and one exhale out the mouth.
As you roll on up, thanking yourself for taking the time to nourish your body and mind. Thank you for being vulnerable today. Taking another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Keeping your eyes closed and continuing to take deep breaths until you're ready to move forward with your day. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can participate in future Mind and Body Pilates classes. We look forward to seeing you soon.